But what we've just witnessed is the problem with this show, where we create narratives that do not exist in reality. The implication, what you are implying, that the white voters that vote on NBA are racist, that they favor white people. You just said that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. That is exactly what you implied, Kendrick Perkins. That is exactly what you implied. Secondly, hold on.
I did not call. I stated the facts.
You ready for this one?
Oh, God.
What you need ibuprofen for when you have a perk?
Kendrick Perkins once dominated the NBA paint with brute force and unrelenting presence. Today, he dominates sports television with something far more explosive, reckless, inflammatory opinions that leave entire fan bases stunned. His voice booms across ESPN airwaves, turning routine analysis into headline-grabbing controversy almost every week. What began as a redemption arc for a journeyman big man has morphed into one of the most polarizing media careers in modern sports. Perkins doesn't just commentate, he provokes, accuses, and occasionally detonates entire narratives with claims so wild they force co-hosts to recoil and networks to issue apologies. His story starts in the shadows of abandonment and violence. At 2 years old, Kendrick watched his father leave for New Zealand to chase a professional basketball dream that never materialized in the NBA. 3 years later, his mother was fatally shot by a friend during a heated argument. The shooter claimed self-defense, but the loss left a permanent scar. Raised by grandparents who struggled financially in Beaumont, Texas, young Perkins grew up without parental guidance. Basketball became his escape and his weapon. Whether he picked up the sport to surpass his father, who walked away, or simply to lift his family out of hardship, the game gave him purpose. By high school, he had become a force of nature. At 6'10", Perkins towered over Texas competition. As a senior, he averaged 27.5 points, 16.4 rebounds, and a staggering 7.8 blocks per game while leading his team to a state championship. That dominance earned him a spot in the McDonald's All-American Game, one of the most prestigious showcases for high school talent.
So he could have picked up the phone and called me if he had a problem with what I said about Russ. But he wanted to make that about him, in my opinion. My phone always on. KD number not blocked. Yeah. My phone on. He could call me at any time. If he had a problem with me saying Mr. Thunder and Russ or whatever the case may be, or I could explain to him what I meant by that. By no means am I saying that Russell Westbrook is a better player than Kevin Durant. I'm not saying that by no means.
Scouts loved his size, strength, and rim protection. In 2003, he skipped college entirely and entered the NBA draft. The Memphis Grizzlies selected him 27th overall, then immediately traded him to the Boston Celtics. It felt like destiny, a chance to prove he belonged among the league's best. The early years crushed those expectations. For his first 3 seasons, Perkins averaged just 3.8 points per game. He looked slow, awkward, and overwhelmed by the professional speed and physicality. Critics questioned whether the high school monster could translate to the pros. Then the 2007 offseason changed everything. Boston acquired Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett to join Paul Pierce, forming one of the most formidable Big Three lineups in league history. Suddenly, Perkins had superstars to play off. He embraced the role-player life, setting brutal screens, boxing out, protecting the rim, and doing the unglamorous work that let the stars shine. In 2008, that sacrifice paid off. The Celtics won the NBA championship, ending a 22-year drought for the franchise. Perkins finally had a ring, a tangible reward for years of grinding. 2 years later, the dream fractured. During the 2010 NBA Finals against the Los Angeles Lakers, Perkins suffered a gruesome knee injury in Game 6, torn ACL and PCL. He was ruled out for Game 7. Without their defensive anchor, Boston was out-rebounded 53-40 and lost the series. Many insiders still believe Perkins' presence could have flipped the outcome. The injury marked the beginning of the end. Boston traded him to Oklahoma City shortly after surgery. His production never recovered. The NBA was shifting towards smaller, faster lineups built around perimeter play. Bulky, traditional centers like Perkins became less essential. He bounced to New Orleans, where he averaged a dismal 3.5 points and 2.5 rebounds per game over one season. Eventually, he landed in the G League with the Canton Charge before quietly retiring in 2018 after 14 seasons. Career averages: 5.4 points, 5.8 rebounds, 1 championship. Solid glue guy numbers, but far from the superstar tier. Retirement could have been quiet. Instead, Perkins pivoted straight into media. In 2019, he joined ESPN as an NBA analyst, initially working alongside veterans such as Gary Payton. Many fans welcomed the move. He had real championship experience, 14 years in the trenches and a larger-than-life personality, expectations were high, but within months, the excitement soured. Perkins seemed desperate to prove he belonged in the spotlight. He admitted working his first year and a half at ESPN without pay, grinding to earn credibility. That hunger, however, pushed him toward increasingly outrageous takes. The Nikola Jokić saga became Exhibit A. Jokić won back-to-back-to-back MVP awards from 2021 to 2023, cementing himself as one of the greatest big men ever. Perkins, who never sniffed MVP consideration, began attacking the Serbian center's legitimacy. He claimed Jokić padded stats by deliberately taking fewer shots to inflate assists. When that narrative failed to stick, Perkins escalated dramatically. On air, he declared that 80% of MVP voters are white Americans, implying racial bias favored Jokić. The accusation landed like a grenade. Stephen A. Smith and others immediately pushed back, noting that since the 1980s, black players have won the MVP roughly 3 times as often as white players. Recent winners before Jokić included Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, none of whom were white. ESPN later apologized on Perkins' behalf. The backlash was fierce. Fans accused him of jealousy, bitterness, and inventing racism where none existed. Perkins didn't stop there. During the 2021 NBA Finals, Milwaukee Bucks stars Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton both had massive games. Perkins declared Middleton the Batman and Giannis the Robin, insisting the 2-time MVP freezes in big moments. The take ignored Giannis' season-long dominance, 56.9% field goal percentage compared to Middleton's 47.6%, and the fact that Milwaukee's entire system was built around the Greek Freak's drives and playmaking. One furious fan sent repeated death threats to Perkins and his family, leading to an arrest. Perkins later called Giannis a coward for not publicly demanding a trade, even though Giannis had never hinted at wanting out of Milwaukee, where he had already won a title and multiple MVPs. James Harden's pandemic-era weight loss became another target. Perkins praised Harden's discipline, joking that the star had avoided hanging with rappers and instead stayed in the gym. He predicted the slimmer Harden would make Houston a championship favorite. Reality proved otherwise. Harden's scoring dropped sharply after the bubble, and he requested a trade just 8 games into the next season. The Rockets collapsed without him. Even coaches felt his wrath. After Boston's strong 2022-23 regular season, Perkins ripped head coach Joe Mazzulla, saying one version of Mazzulla looked brilliant while the other was so clueless that if you took his brain out and put it in a bird, the bird would fly backwards. The Celtics responded by banning Perkins from their 18th banner celebration. The pattern continued beyond basketball. In 2025, after Cleveland drafted Shedeur Sanders, Perkins declared the young quarterback the most powerful black man since 2009, the year Barack Obama was elected president. The comparison stunned analysts and fans alike. Sanders, son of a Hall of Fame athlete and raised in privilege, had barely played pro snaps. Equating him to the first black U.S. president felt not just premature, but disrespectful to Obama's legacy. Perhaps the most uncomfortable moment came during a recent segment with co-host Malika Andrews. After a Rockets-Thunder game, Perkins leaned back, grinned, and asked, "What do you need ibuprofen for when you have a perk?" The innuendo hung in the air. Andrews looked visibly uncomfortable. Coming from a commentator who frequently portrays himself as a family man, the line felt jarring, especially amid broader media industry scandals involving workplace dynamics. Perkins thrives on attention. His takes generate clicks, viral clips, and endless debate. Some defend him, arguing he brings raw honesty and stirs necessary conversation. Others see a man who never achieved individual greatness on the court, now chasing relevance by tearing others down. He rarely waits for evidence, rarely reads the room, and rarely apologizes. Instead, he doubles down, turning every criticism into fuel. At 6'10", Kendrick Perkins once controlled the boards with physicality. Now he controls conversations with sheer audacity. Whether that makes him the NBA's worst commentator or its most entertaining provocateur depends on who you ask. One thing is certain, silence has never been an option for Big Perk. Controversy is his second championship, and he wears it proudly.